You want to know what's awesome? Flying a drone flight with a nice, big, sexy screen that looks like this. I'm telling you, trying to fly with one of these sucks. So this is absolutely the way to go if you possibly can. But you know that if you're going to use a big touchpad like this, you need some help mounting it onto a controller. Well, there are a lot of different mounts out there for a lot of different controllers. There are also different adapters for different types of touchpads. Today I want to talk to you about a mount from a company named Skyfire Aerial. I think it's a terrific mount, and I'm going to tell you all about it. Yeah, I gotta say, flying with a little bitty screen like this, it just sucks. You can't see the telemetry, you can't see the things that you want to click on to make changes to settings and things like that. It's even hard to set up your shots on a little screen like that. So if you can fly with something like an iPad mini size type device, or even better, something like the Tripltek 8 Pro device, this thing is wonderful, although it weighs about as much as your average howitzer. Flying with something like this makes life much, much easier, and it's safer too. You know, though, that if you're going to try to mount something like this on your controller, you need some kind of adapter, because this is not set up to handle a big touchpad like that. I tested out some products from a company named Skyfire Aerial, and I think they're great products, and I'm going to be talking about those today. Now, as I said, this is the Autel Evo Lite Plus controller and the Tripltek 8 Pro touchpad. Don't worry about that, though. If you're flying a Mavic, or if you're using a different touchpad, they got solutions for those too at Skyfire Aerial. These are just what I'm using in my example today, and I'm going to show you how you can adapt for other things besides the Tripltek too as we go along with this process. Anyway, let's get into why I think this is a really great option for you to use as a mount for your touchpads. Here is the setup with the Skyfire Aerial mount on the Evo Lite Plus controller, and it's connected to the Tripltek 8 Pro touchpad. There's two parts to this. This area here is the mount itself, the orange and black that you see here, and then I'll turn this, hopefully you can see right here is a kind of a Y-shaped piece, and that is an adapter designed specifically for this particular touchpad, but there are other options, and I'll show you that in a couple minutes. Anyway, the first thing I want to talk about with this is just build quality, and I think the build quality on this is really good. When you tighten these things down, I have them a little bit loose right now so I can attach and detach these things as I'm making this video. But when you tighten these things down all the way, you can sit there and shake this thing, and that doesn't wiggle at all. It really locks in. Now, this touchpad weighs 1.37 pounds. So that's a really heavy touchpad to have balanced on this little piece. The mount itself only weighs 145 grams, I think. So, it's not a substantial piece of equipment in terms of its size and weight, but it really does hold the weight of even a heavy touchpad like this very well. If you look on the front of this, you'll see they've added a couple of nice features. This is not something that I will use personally, but I know a lot of people do. There's a ring right here that you can use for a lanyard. You can connect the controller to a lanyard with that ring right there, and then also you have two little pockets right here for the sticks to go into as you're storing this controller. I don't like taking off the sticks off my drone. I'm always afraid I'm going to lose them. I wish they didn't come off, but they do. And unfortunately, Autel did nothing to accommodate give you a place to store these on the controller itself. Skyfire Aerial has taken care of that for you. So as I say, they've got these two pockets right here. You can clip them right in there and put it in your bag, and you'll know right where your sticks are the next time you want to fly. As far as using the mount itself, you can tilt this any way that you want. You know, when you get out there, you can see the angle of light. What's the best angle to have this thing at? You can tilt that and tighten it down on the mount and lock it in, and then you're good to go. I like this kind of configuration. I don't like having the touchpad over the sticks or the buttons. I feel like that kind of obstructs my access to the sticks, and I want to be able to see those buttons. If I'm going to have to get to a return to home or something like that, I don't want anything blocking my view, you know, anything going on between me and the buttons themselves. So I prefer this configuration. You can, however, if you prefer, take this piece off, turn it upside down, and reattach it, and set this out, and it will move this forward, and it should put the touch panel over the sticks. So if you prefer having it closer and over the sticks, and then you're reaching beneath the touchpad to do what you're going to do, it should accommodate that kind of configuration as well. There are a few neat little features built into this. I talked about the pockets for the sticks and the lanyard ring. They got that in there. Johnny, who is the genius behind Skyfire Aerial, is a flyer himself. He listens to a lot of feedback from people, and so he's always updating these things and adding in little features to make it better. And one of the things that's part of this is on the bottom of the mount itself is a standard, I believe, 1/4-inch tripod mount. It's a standard tripod mount, and if you want, you can actually mount this whole setup on a tripod, so you're not even having to carry the weight of this piece yourself, which is kind of a neat idea. If you look on the back of the adapter right here, there is another tripod mount right here, so I could detach this from the controller and put this on a tripod. There's a third tripod mount on the underside of this adapter here, and so I could mount it there too. So there's lots of different ways that you can hook this thing up on a tripod as well as on the controller itself to make it easier for you to use. I've got the touchpad off of the controller so I can show you better what I'm talking about. Here's a tripod mount here, and here's another tripod mount here. And like I say, you can just put this right on a tripod. You can, you know, if you're using a longer cable, you can stand away from this and still see it, which means you're not carrying this heavy weight while you're flying. Another advantage, and this is something I used it for on a commercial flight that I was doing, is I put this on the tripod and my client was able to stand right next to me and he could see exactly what I was doing on the touchpad as I was flying. I had the nice big screen to work with myself, and so he was able to help me line up shots and get the footage that he wanted. So this little adapter, this is the adapter, and this is also from Skyfire Aerial, is a great tool. You can get this thing in independently. If you have this touchpad and you want to use it for a tripod, you can buy this piece separately and use it off a tripod. That way you don't have to have it on the mount itself. Okay, just for a minute I'm going to take this piece off so we're looking kind of more into the middle of the mount itself. When it comes time to put this thing away, if you take this piece off, you can see that that's a pretty narrow spread on the mount itself, so it's going to fit pretty well in a bag this way. However, you can remove this piece, flip it around, put it in this way, and now it's taking up even less depth in your bag if you want to do that. Something I mentioned earlier, and I just want to make sure it's real clear. Normally this is how you have this on there, and then you've got this piece like this, and that way the touchpad is not over the top of the sticks, it's over the top of the controller itself, so your sticks are unobstructed. However, if you like the more closed-in profile, you can turn this piece around. So now I've got that piece on upside down. I can take my connection for the touchpad and put in here. I know you can't see there. So now that's much lower. And now as I'm flying, the touchpad is actually over top of the stick, so I can, of course, tilt it any angle I want. So it just allows you to get the touchpad about an inch, inch and a half closer to you than it would be if you mount that thing the other way that I had it set up originally. There's just several different things you can do to make this thing configured to the way you want to use it. I've taken this thing apart and put it back together a few different ways and showed you different configurations for it. I think a lot of you will probably disassemble this thing and put it in your bag or at least partially disassemble it and put it in your bag to carry it. I'm a little older than some of you. I've got arthritis in my fingers, so tightening and untightening these things over and over again tends to get a little painful for me. So I'm going to leave this thing on my controller. I really love it. I'm going to leave it on my controller all the time, and I'm going to store it in my bag this way. It takes up more space. I got a different bag. The bag from Autel that came with its Premier package would not accommodate this kind of setup, but it wouldn't accommodate putting this in there as well. So I want to have one bag where I put everything together, and I'll use a larger bag so I can keep this on there, and it's a lot easier to set up and fly when it comes time to do so. Up to now, I've been talking about using this with the Tripltek, which is a pretty extreme example for a mount. But as I said, you can use this with other types of touchpads as well. And I'll tighten this thing down to show you. In most cases, you don't need a specialized adapter to connect to the Tripltek. This thing, again, 1.37 pounds. Having that really widespread thing with the two screws that are connected to it really makes this safe to mount, even though this is such a heavy device. But if you're using a smaller device or touchpad, a lighter, more standard sized touchpad, you can use something as simple as a standard, a universal touchpad holder, because the nice thing about this is anything that connects whatever touchpad to the mount itself is just a standard universal tripod mount. So if you get a universal touchpad holder, it has in the bottom that tripod mount, and you can mount it right on there and put your touchpad right in that holder, and you're good to go. Likewise, if you want to switch over, you need to switch over to use your cell phone for some reason. Here's a standard cell phone mount, standard universal cell phone mount. Again, there's a tripod screw there, tripod screw there. You can mount this in right here and put your cell phone on it. The nice thing about that is you can switch from viewing device to viewing device without having to change this whole thing out. You can just leave this thing on there and just put whatever type of adapter you need to hold your viewing device, and you can switch back and forth very easily. And that's all I got to say about this thing. It's a mount. I can't do a 2-hour episode on a mount. But this is just a really good mount. It's intelligently designed. It's light. It's durable. It holds. You talk about an extreme test. Putting this thing on there, and it was rock solid on. I was just thrilled with how that worked. The adapter that connects this particular touchpad, I think it's genius the way he's got it set up. So I'm raving about this thing because I really think it's great. Now, in case you're wondering, I have no affiliate link on this product. I don't make a dime if you buy 1 or 100 of them. So I'm just telling you what I think because it's what I think, and I like sharing good news and good information with my viewers. So I'm happy to brag about this. Johnny is the guy behind this device. He's the guy behind Skyfire Aerial. He's an entrepreneurial type, which I love, made in America, which I love. So I'm really, really happy to give this product a big thumbs up and encourage you to check them out. On my screen right now, you'll see a link that you can type in and go to. Down in the description, there's a link you can click and jump right there as well. So I hope you'll go there and check it out. Doesn't matter what drone you're flying, doesn't matter what touchpad you're using. I think Johnny will have a solution there for you. And I really, really would encourage you to go check them out. On screen, you'll find links to other videos. I think I've got a video on how to attach this thing, actually how to set this thing up, that you can click through and watch it. So I hope you check those out. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button down below, and leave me a comment. I love getting your comments, so I really appreciate it when you take time to do that. And that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching.